Welcome to Crossbody of Work. My name is Evan.
I am Javier.
This week we are looking at a standout performer from the WWE Women's Division from the late aughts, I guess is how you call it. Late aughts, early dimes.
Early dimes. I mean, it's she started in like 2005, didn't she?
Yeah, so mid aughts.
Mid aughts to the early dimes.
I heard the dimes ironically in one of those AI generated rap videos by Joe Biden.
Oh my god.
And Obama's like, they don't call it the dimes, Joe. And he's like, I call it the dimes. And I have started referring to the 2010s as the dimes.
It's Jover.
It's Jover.
We're Barack.
On this show, we talk about a wrestler through 5 of their most notable or important matches. This week, it's Michelle McCool.
You're not enough for me.
You and I have started singing her entrance music, I think, a combined 4 times since we started recording, since before we started recording.
Yeah. I mean, my name in the recording session right now is Never Enough.
With a little sad face.
Yeah, well, I'm never enough.
What do you know about Michelle McCool?
She's married to The Undertaker. She was a multiple-time Women/Divas champion, and she's tall and blonde and skinny.
These are all facts.
Oh, and she used the Styles Clash.
She did use the Styles Clash. She called it the Faith Breaker.
I didn't know the name of it.
It's a good name. It's a good name for the move. I think that's cool. Michelle McCool, I would say probably one of the most standout athletes of this era of WWE women's programming.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. When I remember her starting out, she had that weird teacher gimmick.
Yeah.
And then she transitioned obviously into a wrestler full time. And I always thought that she was like better than the others. Like there were people who were obviously like wrestlers.
Yeah.
Like, your Mickie James, et cetera, Victoria.
Gail Kim. Yeah.
Yeah, like people like that. And then there were like the people who that they just kind of like pulled off from like magazines and who were like models.
The Diva search area.
Yeah, like I don't want to discredit a lot of those women because, some of them do have like legitimate athletic backgrounds.
They also do shit that a lot of people can't do.
Yeah, like just the fact that they're wrestling for WWE is in and
exactly.
of itself a big deal.
Yes.
And like I always thought that Michelle was like, one of, if not the best of like that sort of collection of women.
Yeah, I think what it is because she did come from the Diva Search route, that the fact that she had like so much athleticism and took to wrestling really quickly, that kind of set her apart. Before we dive into the career of Michelle McCool, there's a reminder to, if you're not already, check us out on YouTube at Crossbody of Work. And be sure to check our bonus episode both on YouTube and in our podcast feed. We interviewed the natural Nick Sullivan. He was a fantastic interview. He was a great guy. By the time you hear this, he will have had his match already at Shinlock Wrestling against Nick Aldis. Very intrigued to see how that goes for him. But we had a great time. We broke down a whole match with him that he had against Moose.
Yeah, we broke down that. We broke down his career. We just chatted about wrestling for a little while.
Yeah, we talked about how John Cena does great things and how The Miz has won at life. It's a really good time. Yeah,
we got to pick the brain of an independent wrestler. Hopefully, this is the first of many interviews that we'll be doing here.
If you have other independent wrestlers you think would have a great time with the boys, you should hit us up on social media and tell us who to reach out to, or tell that wrestler to come hang out with us. That'd be cool.
If you are that wrestler, just, I don't know, send us a tweet.
Send us a DM.
We'll have you on. I don't even care what your credentials are. We'll bring you in.
We don't have any credentials. Look at us. Who would have thought? All right, Michelle McCool, you mentioned the teacher gimmick, and that was her first gimmick when she was on the main roster. That's because both of her parents do work in education. Like, her mom is a teacher, her dad is a superintendent, and apparently growing up, Michelle McCool, which, by the way, real name, no gimmicks, incredible. Being named Michelle McCool?
Oh, that's her real name?
Legit name. Shoot.
Oh, wow.
Michelle McCool.
I would have guessed it was like Michelle, like, I don't know, what's a
Mickelson or something. Like something.
Last name that starts with MC and then like another thing.
McAllister or whatever.
Yeah, some shit like that. Like I figured that's what it was like. And she just like, you know what? McCool sounds pretty nice. It's like a McDonald's like beverage.
Yeah. Come get our like slushies, the McCool. No, Michelle McCool, which is a fantastic name. was a big fan of professional wrestling growing up. There's a story on her Wikipedia that apparently she learned how to do the figure four leg lock by the age of 7.
That's crazy because I don't even know how to do the figure four leg lock right now.
I do know how to receive the figure four leg lock. Thank you to my older brother.
I can receive the stretch muffler very well, as I learned it originally, the Brock lock.
Yeah,
because my brother was a big Brock Lesnar guy.
So she was a part of the Divas search, and she was part of the 2004 Divas search. Do you remember who won that year?
2004.
Yep,
Was that Ashley?
it's Christy Hemme.
Cool.
She signed a 3-year deal after being eliminated. She did this weird gimmick where she was a fitness trainer for a while, and she actually had a match. So her first match is on SmackDown. She teamed with The Big Show, who we just finished the 3-part series on, to defeat Dawn Marie and your boy, Rene Dupree.
Okay, so she was a fitness person, and they didn't put her in there with Simon Dean?
That's the weird thing. Then she was part of the feud between Eminem and Heidenreich because she defended Heidenreich against Eminem making fun of them, which is weird. Then she got sent to Deep South. She went to Ohio Valley Wrestling. She did a bunch of things. She wrestled. She did interviews. She hosted segments. She was on color commentary for a while. And while she was there, she started to manage the duo of Amish Roadkill and Casey James. She would then be brought up to the main roster as the manager for, I believe, Idol Stevens. That's the name I'm thinking of, right? Casey James and Idol Stevens. So I don't really know what Casey James turned into, but Idol Stevens is Damian Sandow.
Yes. I don't remember. I just remember the teacher thing.
Then, so she called them the teacher's pets, and then she went off on her own and did her own teacher gimmick. So we're going to look at, I believe, the first singles match of her main roster career. It is July 28th, 2006, and it's Michelle McCool versus Jillian Hall.
Jillian is accompanied by Ashley Massaro, and I cannot think of two more polar opposite gimmicks.
Those are two different people by a lot.
Yeah.
The past Sunday, they had been in a fatal not a fatal four-way, but a 4-way elimination bra and panties match at Great American Bash. We don't need to cover that because it's bra and panties match. We're fine.
We're good.
We're cool. Miss McCool's out. She's got a pointer stick. She's got the updo. She got some glasses.
She's there with someone. Don't know who.
Crystal.
Crystal?
Crystal.
I have no idea who this is.
I don't remember much about her, but I do remember that she was on the roster and that was her name.
Crystal. There's a promo for the movie Barnyard, which slaps. I love Barnyard. I love Back at the Barnyard, the show. I love Barnyard 2. Everything about Barnyard was great. It was ahead of its time. You know
what this promo break reminded me, though? How badly I wanted K-Swiss. I think K-Swiss had some really good marketing. Did you not want K-Swiss?
I didn't care for K-Swiss. Bro, I was a G-Unit kid, so it's like... I had G-Unit shoes when I was growing up.
Did you have lugs?
I don't know what lugs are.
Like the big work boot? Did you ever get lugs?
No, I wasn't a boot person.
I feel like it's also more New York than Boston.
I had some FUBU. I had Rockaware. I had this suede Rockaware jersey, like a basketball jersey, and it was red, and it was literally furry. It was like suede.
Let me paint you a picture of young Evan too. Let's go with 7th grade Evan.
Oh God,
rocking a red Miami Heat Dwayne Wade jersey.
Go on.
A fair player goes to a store at the mall, gets a counterfeit fake diamond chain.
Oh.
Big E is a big bling E.
Did you draw chest hair too? Make yourself feel better?
I mean, I just kind of had it already. I just genuinely wanted, that's what I dress like. And I don't know why anyone talked to me.
Did you rock the LL Cool J bucket hat?
I would have if I had found one. I truly would have. I was one of those kids that was like, hey, I want to know all about rap, and then I got really into it, and it's all, I've said this before on other podcasts, NBA Street Volume 2. I heard the soundtrack and I was like, this is great. So I just downloaded everything by the Rakim, Tribe Called Quest, and Eric Sermon. I was downloading everything through LimeWire.
Rakim and Eric B blew his mind.
It was the best. And then I don't know why anyone talked to me in school because I thought I was so hood. Anywho, Actually, I think I did have a little self-awareness. I'm like, I know this isn't about me. I just like the style.
It's understand. I mean, listen, at least it's good stuff. It's Tribe. It's Rakim.
Yeah, man, Tribe's awesome. JBL is on commentary for this match.
This is 100% without a doubt the worst JBL performance. Like, we'll get into it. It's the worst thing I've ever heard anyone say on a professional wrestling show.
I say he's on his Jerry Lawler in this match.
No, this is worse than Jerry Lawler.
He's on his like 99 Jerry Lawler. Like
Jerry
out of
Lawler
control.
is like perverted grandfather. Like, this is borderline sexual harassment.
Oh no, we talk about sexual harassment during commentary. The match is fine. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, it's just two women who are still learning the ropes of wrestling. They're both pretty green, so they just kind of have to figure it out on the way there.
But Michelle shows a lot of really good athleticism. Gets like a backbreaker of sorts. She pulls Jillian down over her knee. She does a kip up at one point.
The
like
Io Shirai kip up.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to like. You can see a lot of like the nuggets that are going to get formed into a really good wrestler.
Yeah, backbreaker. Jillian hits a beautiful little back.
Yeah, she did.
Like handspring back elbow. I mean, Michelle wouldn't let her do it, but she does eventually do it. Jillian does a monkey flip. Then she does a middle rope crossbody, which is when I realized like she's really springy, but she's not athletic.
A lot of hops, a lot of bounce.
No, no bounce, 0 bounce from a dead start. Nothing. A 2-inch vertical.
But the handsprings help.
Yeah, can do a handspring. So she's like
gymnastics.
Again, she's springy, but she's not athletic.
In order to talk about the next move, we have to talk about how JBL is awful. All right,
go ahead. I'm gonna let you.
I would like to remind people that once upon a time, Michael Cole was a decorated reporter. He covered the Yugoslavian Civil War and the Waco siege, and now he's next to JBL on commentary.
He went to Syracuse University, which is like
the journalism school.
It's that and it's Northwestern. Yeah. Literally, those are the two journalism schools.
Cole makes a very relevant comment about athleticism in this match because both women are pretty good athletes in their own way. JBL calls him fruity booty because of how attractive the women are, and that's what he should be focusing on. And
I wish there was alcohol in this just because of these comments.
He is getting mad. Later, the next move that happens in the match, as we've broken it down, Jillian rubs Michelle's face in her breasts. Michael Cole says very funnily, "You couldn't do that, JBL." Well, maybe you could now because JBL's getting out of shape. Good little jab there, Cole. I like that. Jillian hits a Simone drop, and JBL is on some absolute nonsense.
He did say that if she had done that to him while she was working for him, she would still have a job.
Yes, and then he says he doesn't report sexual harassment; he grades it.
Yeah, he encourages it. I'm trying so hard.
2006 is not that long ago.
2006 is not even 20 years ago.
It's not that long ago.
Someone born in 2006 is like in high school.
Yeah, they're like going off to college next year. That's people born in 2006. That is kind of crazy. Michelle gets a pin up. Jillian misses the handstand leg drop. She uses the ropes for leverage. She wins. This is an awful JBL match, but if you want to see an origin for Michelle, it's really not that bad.
Yeah.
She was then repackaged as the All-American Diva, which really ties into like her look, kind of her backstory. Like really, Michelle McCool is a great embodiment for that. I think she does a really good job of that. On the July 4th, 2008 episode of SmackDown, she won what's called a Golden Dreams match to face Natalya for the WWE Divas Championship in the inaugural match. Like it's the first Divas Championship match. It's her versus Natty. This match, compared to the last match, is one of the most drastic, quick improvements I've ever seen in any wrestler we've covered.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is wild. And yes, Natty's great. But we also have to think, we know Natty now, seasoned veteran Natty who's been around forever, and obviously she has it in her blood, and she's been trained so well.
Good then too.
But she's good then, but she's not the like. She's truly like a ring, like she's a master now. Like
now she's like a veteran. She's been doing it so long. She lives for this shit, so she trains quite often. Like Natty's just gets it. Back then, she was just like a woman who has been training since she was literally a child and
had skills
and was on the independents. Like she went over to Japan, all this other stuff. Like she is a very good wrestler, but she may not be at the leading other
that
people.
level yet.
Whereas,
But
like,
Michelle McCool is 2 years on from that match we just looked at, and has been in the business for about 3 years now, a little over 3, coming on 4. She's so good in this match.
excellent.
Like, this is a crazy amount of improvement.
This is also not the first inaugural title match for that Natty has been in.
Yeah, because she's also in the NXT women's one.
Or sorry,
Yeah.
It is the first, but it's not the last.
It's not the last, which is also wild. Also, a couple wild things. Like, I felt like it was in another, like a multiverse here. Natty has red hair.
Which, yeah, well, that's like it's like auburn.
Yeah,
it's like a natural hair color.
Still threw me off. Mick Foley's on commentary.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
It's Mick and JR.
This clip was recorded on a fucking Game Boy. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, this is one of our lower quality clips that you're ever going to see here. Not the worst. That's still that Bret Hart house show match.
Yeah, but what do you want me to tell you? Like, it was a match from the 90s at a house show in Germany. Like,
it was never supposed to see the light of day. So give me your breakdown. What do you think of this match?
It's a nice little technical start. They go with like waist locks and stuff like that, and I'm like, oh, she's got it. She knows what she's doing here. Natty, it's a stun gun off of like a weird little position. Then she puts on a surfboard, and Michelle. Listen, it takes 2 to tango with a surfboard.
Yes,
like obviously someone has to be skilled enough to put it on, but the other person has to be like skilled enough to hold it.
Yeah.
So the fact that she's able to keep herself up is great. She gets out of it. She goes for a heel hook right away. That looked like a great maneuver for her.
And also, she does the thing that I see very rarely and takes a lot of core strength, which is when you get out of the surfboard, you don't just immediately like fall over and get back onto the mat. She like just props herself up, repositions, and grabs the heel hook immediately out of the surfboard. Yeah, I was like, oh, that's a really cool transition.
I do not have the abs for that.
God, no.
Natty stretches her around the post like a bow and arrow style, like literally grabs her head, grabs her leg, stretch.
It's bad for the back.
It's not good for the back at all. She then puts on a sharpshooter. Michelle gets to the ropes. Natty then just literally grabs her head and starts smashing it like she's fucking Brock to Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. She just smashed her head. We get another sharpshooter, but McCool catches the leg, kind of locks in the heel hook. Natty's trying to kick her way out, and one of those kicks fucking connects.
Yeah.
And Michelle McCool holds on, and I was like really impressed with that. And
Jesus.
It makes Natty tap. Michelle McCool is the first ever Divas champion.
With a heel hook.
I don't know if you had that in your trivia repertoire, but now you do. Now you know in the back of your mind, like Michelle McCool.
I would never have known who it was.
First ever.
Honestly, if you'd asked me, I would have been like, I don't know, Mickie James.
That's a good guess. Cherry and Eve come out to support Michelle McCool and congratulate her. Cherry and Eve are the two who come out. Did you see who comes out after?
No.
You didn't stick around?
No, I didn't stick around.
So Michelle McCool is celebrating winning the Divas Championship in the ring. The last person you would expect to come out comes out.
JBL?
Chris Jericho.
He was the host of the Divas Search stuff, wasn't he?
But he has nothing to do with Michelle McCool. He comes
might
out.
have been the host when she was on Divas Search.
But what he says is not. So he comes out and he says, "People, you're going to want to look at your ticket stubs, frame them, keep them intact because they are going to be worth money someday." And I'm like, "Oh, is he going to congratulate Michelle McCool?" No, he says the ticket stubs are from the night Shawn Michaels had his last match. Michaels has a detached retina. Shawn is finished and his career is over. Spoilers, Shawn Michaels' career was not over. It ends at WrestleMania 26, and we will hear nothing else about what happened in Saudi Arabia. I refuse to acknowledge it. It didn't happen.
This is the Great American Bash, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, that makes sense. They just had their little matchy match.
Yes, they sure did. I thought it was like a 9-minute clip that we found, and I thought that the whole thing would be the match. I was like, that's actually a decent amount for like 2008 women's wrestling in WWE. And then it was 5 minutes and a minute of celebration, and then Chris fucking Jericho, and I'm so confused. Yeah, he's just doing his pose. All right, we're gonna take a break. When we get back, we get to dive in to LayCool. Back from the break. On the Boxing Day episode in 2008 of SmackDown, Michelle McCool lost the Divas Championship to someone we've already covered. Do you know who?
Maurice?
To Maurice. After the match, McCool would turn heel by attacking Maria, who was the special guest ref, and blaming her for the loss. At the Bash, because it no longer was the Great American Bash, McCool defeated Melina with help from Alicia Fox to win her first women's championship, which made her the first woman to hold both. She retained the championship against Melina in a rematch at Night of Champions and a Lumberjill match. Then we get LayCool. Michelle aligned with Layla to form LayCool. The duo entered a controversial feud with Mickie James in which they bullied her for her weight. I'm sure you think that the segment we're going to talk about is the Piggy James segment in the ring.
Yeah, that ain't for us, man.
We've already covered it.
That ain't for us.
We brought that up in the Mickie James episode, which you should go back and listen to because it's a really good episode, and Mickie James is a phenomenal wrestler. We tore it to shreds then, and we don't want to do it again.
Yeah, that ain't our job.
So instead, we have two different LayCool segments from backstage. One of them involving Mickie James that still is about weight for some fucking reason.
Yeah, wow.
I would just want to make sure if anyone for some reason doesn't know Mickie James, she's a very attractive woman who is in great shape. But for some reason, this is the angle that they went with. Yeah, shrug.
Before we go on, I need to, and I give my opinions on LayCool. I got to know what your thoughts on LayCool was.
I didn't watch in the moment. This is during my lull period.
Jerk.
At first glance, I was like, oh, they're incredibly annoying. Upon further review, they're incredibly annoying with great purpose. It's the whole point.
LayCool is everything we wanted the Iconics to be. I just got to say, I fucking loved LayCool. I thought that they were so good at being the mean girls, and they were both decent. Like, Layla was so fucking funny. Mm-hmm. She was so good at being kind of like the
Billy Kay,
quote unquote dumb one.
Yeah,
like she was really good. It's like the like Amanda Seyfried in Mean Girls. She's like the Amanda Seyfried.
Yeah,
you know,
she's Karen.
Yeah, where like you've got your Regina George in Michelle McCool, and then you've got her friend who she holds near and dear and is also a popular girl, but she's just not all there, and that's what Layla was, at least portraying. And it was just so fucking funny and so good every single time. And they didn't get that much screen time, but I remember being in the moment like, I wish they would show them more. They're very.
I think they got the right amount of screen time to be effective without overdoing it and people being like, all right, now this is go away heat. Like, this is so annoying. It's something I think for a while they had the right amount of Vicky Guerrero, and then they were leaning too much on Vicky, and then it was like, all right, that's getting a little much.
Vicky towards the end.
Too much Vicky. Where the fuck is Vicky? And I love LayCool. I'm glad you brought up the Iconics. What a dropped ball. They're so good. They're so good. Why? Why did they break them up? It was so stupid. It just drives me nuts.
And they went their separate ways, and then they went back. They came back together in Impact, and then they obviously
acting, having kids. Yeah, they're doing
acting,
things.
having kids. They're settling into life, and that's good. Shout out to them. I hope they find their happiness in however they want.
Our first little promo spot here is LayCool confronting Mickie James on SmackDown May 5th, 2010. Mickie is picking up some fruit backstage at catering.
Oh my God.
And LayCool roll up and see, are there any cookies under the fruit?
No.
Want to do a LayCool impression?
They come in so hot.
I'm not emotionally prepared for a LayCool impression, so I don't know.
Michelle just goes, eating food? Imagine that. And then they say it at the same time. It's the funniest shit. I was like, bro, I had to pause it. I was dying.
So my favorite is they keep just saying a bunch of random things as Mickey's trying to explain, like, yeah, I'm just having fruit. Like, let me live. And Layla there's a little one-off line. She goes, no, that's what we eat. It's so stupid.
It's so dumb. Mickie says it's over between them. Like, she's beating them or whatever. Like, she doesn't want any more with them. Michelle says that as long as Mickie has her title, it isn't over. She asks that she asks if her title. Michelle keeps saying like if my title even fits around Mickey's waist. And then Layla says something about the extender, and
Michelle, the extenders.
all I could think of was Scott Foster.
That's true. The extender.
Yeah.
He does extend series.
They offer Mickey for some reason there's a big old tray of cottage cheese.
The biggest fucking bowl of just cottage cheese. It's just a big. Somebody emptied out a bunch of containers of cottage cheese into one thing. If someone brought this to your house for a potluck, you would never talk to them again.
Okay, I will say I'm actually still upset. So earlier this week, my meal prep food for the week was this like mac and cheese with honey barbecue chicken that I made.
Okay, that sounds good.
It's very good, but it's like a high protein, like healthy one. And the sauce for the mac and cheese, I needed like a certain amount of cottage cheese. So I was like, I go to Stop and Shop, which is like the grocery store chain around here. I know you Canadians do not have Stop and Shop. And I grab a little cup of it, and I'm like, it's probably enough. I don't know. I definitely should have read it because, like, looking back on it, I needed more cottage cheese. So I saw this and I was like, it's a good amount of cottage cheese right there. Wish I had that.
What's the most unhinged thing you can bring to a potluck? That's still food.
Sour cream.
True, with nothing that it goes with.
Just sour cream.
Sour cream.
Just a big old bowl of sour cream.
I had a friend who once said, like, we were all meeting up for food or whatever, and he's like, oh, I'm going to bring a salad. We're like, oh, cool, he's going to bring a salad. He brought, you know, the Pillsbury, like, we call them spooky cooks, like the ready-made, like, Halloween cookies with the pumpkin on them or whatever.
Oh, so good.
He took them out of the package, put them in a salad bowl, just, like, uncooked, raw cookie dough, and brought it. And he's like, anything that's in this bowl is technically salad. It's like, that's not how salad bowls work.
Now, wait a minute. Let him cook.
Let him cook. Exactly. Let that man cook. It was the best salad I've ever had. The giant bowl of cottage cheese is flung by
No, it's
Mickey.
not a bowl. It's a tray. It's a tray of cottage. That's the part that makes it even worse, is the fact that it's not a bowl. If it was a bowl of cottage cheese, you know what? You dip stuff in it. It makes sense.
No.
It makes sense. This is a tray. It's a literal long square plate.
Yes, the Trey Young of cottage cheese is thrown into the air by Mickey, goes behind her, and lands on the face of Vicky Guerrero.
Can you just hear?
I am going to have so much fun editing that in post. This is so good. Sorry, headphone users like myself right now. All I wrote about this segment is, I know Vince found this the funniest thing in the world.
Oh my God, he was this bad.
It's such good shit. We have one more promo segment to talk about with LayCool, and it's them going to talk to Teddy Long, who's now the GM of SmackDown. Michelle has won the women's title from Mickey at this point, and LayCool roll up on Teddy Long, who's talking to Rosa Mendez.
She comes in and goes, Rosa, we've told you before, a little less talking and a lot more training. Beat it.
Michelle has the women's title, but Layla also has a version of the women's title. And they're complaining to Teddy about how they're co-champions. They both need to be able to wear the belt. Teddy's saying there's only one women's title. I don't care that you're champs together. And they say, we're BFF champs. And that raises the question,
cool.
Would we be BFF champs?
Hell no. I'm fucking putting that title right in your back. Right in your back. It's, God. You know what we can be, actually? I'll get the best I can do for you is like how MJF and Adam Cole are right now, where like MJF's the champion, but Adam's there too.
So I can be like at the side, like, good Steiner math promo.
We come out, you know, you get your entrance. I go along with it, but I wear the belt.
So we're not. It's not. I also think you'd love a like Luchasaurus Christian Cage situation where I actually won the title and you just hold it.
Oh yeah. If you for whatever reason decide to become a wrestler, never happening. But if you for whatever reason decide to do it, and you somehow, some goddamn way, someone puts a title on you, I'm taking that title and it's my title now.
I am much more likely to be the manager that also takes the title and is like, this is mine now. I wear this.
You're the Stokely Hathaway, but white.
I'll take that. That's the greatest compliment I've gotten in a long time. Teddy says to give him one of the titles. Michelle gives hers away, and then they're arguing about who is the champ and who gets to wear the title. And they're pulling on it and pulling on it
Michelle
and
said,
pulling on it.
"I won it." Which is a
Michelle
valid
raises
argument.
a very good point. And they pull it apart into two perfectly broken pieces. The whole time, Layla has been holding it by the middle, so Teddy couldn't see. They have duped Teddy. They now have two halves of the title. There's technically only one title.
Yeah. And they smile and they go,
Oopsie. When LayCool's not fat shaming, they're the funniest people on the planet.
They tell Teddy the title is now flawless, and they walk away giggling. This is the greatest thing ever. How can anyone hate on LayCool?
Let's move to our next match for Michelle McCool. It is against Melina, and it's a title unification lumberjill match, Night of Champions 2010. McCool is wearing the belt held together by the strap part, so the way you like fasten it behind your back, she has at the back of her neck, and it just drapes the two sides of the women's title. It's a weird look.
Someone has done that before, though.
Oh well, some people have done that with they've done the tag titles.
When Cena had the world heavyweight, when they unified the belts, Cena would do that.
He did, but at least those were whole belts. This ends. It's a half belt.
I prefer not to speak.
Layla is upset. She's one of the lumberjills. She's upset because Michelle tricked her into getting to do the match as co-champions. She's upset.
Yeah. Well, that's unfortunate for her.
Michelle's a great heel. McCool's a great heel. She baseball slides Melina during her entrance and just like sends her out of the ring. Melina does get the upper hand, but yeah.
No, she doesn't. She tries to baseball slide Melina. When Melina goes for the split, Melina sits up and then Michelle just goes out.
Oh, I must have seen that wrong. My eyes.
And then Michelle slaps Rosa Mendez for no reason.
Just unprovoked. I guess Rosa hasn't done enough training for her liking. Just slaps Rosa Mendez.
Melina does like a tilt-a-whirl, and then like most people would turn that into like a hurricane
scissors,
or like or whatever. She just lands on her feet and then hits a crescent kick.
It's actually pretty cool.
I actually enjoyed that.
I like this match a lot.
Yeah, Melina's a good performer.
I think in terms of in-ring work, it's the recommendation this week.
Yeah, I would say so.
I think it's not my favorite match, though. I think that's the last match we covered.
Yeah, the last one's my favorite, but only because it's the culmination of a great thing.
It's a great story, yeah. But this match, in terms of the in-ring work, Melina, as we've mentioned a couple times in this podcast when we cover women's wrestling specifically, underrated as an in-ring performer.
Yep. Did we do a Melina episode?
We haven't. That's something in the queue. But the thing is, she shows up in almost every single other women's episode from this era because they at least have one good match against Melina because she was everywhere.
Yeah. Melina versus Alicia Fox. Great match.
Alicia Fox.
Michelle pulls Melina off the top rope to the outside, which is ugly looking. And then as Melina's getting back into the ring, Michelle hits her with a blockbuster for a near fall. Then she puts on a head scissors because they have to have a rest spot here at some point.
Yeah. I like that she does like spice up a little bit because she uses the ropes for leverage. Good heel stuff always throughout.
Great heel.
Yeah.
She goes for a Styles Clash. What's the name of it again?
The Faith Breaker.
That's solid, to be honest.
It's a solid name.
Melina uses her core to get up into a powerbomb position and then ends up hitting a face buster from there. And then a move that I learned to really like by Michelle. She hits a belly to belly.
She's a very good belly to belly.
Very good belly to belly. It's hard to fuck up a belly to belly, to be fair, but she makes it look really good because she like whips them.
Yes. Is it better than the Bailey to belly?
No, because Bailey is. I feel like Bailey is just like the perfect height for at least like for the women. Where like she can hit it on anyone, but also she's like of a close enough height to usually like whoever. Like when she would do it to Sasha, she would fucking ragdoll Sasha.
I think the Bailey to belly got a bad rap for a long time, but there are two reasons to stand by it. Bailey did it really well, and the move is a hug. That's the point. It's a fucking hug, and she hugs them to death, and she's a hugger. It just it made sense.
And now it's like, what's her finisher nowadays? It's the rose plant in it.
Yeah.
Which is like gross. Don't like it.
You don't like it?
Don't like it.
I want the hug back. Give me the hug.
At least do like eat defeat or some shit.
When Bailey's face again, I'm going to lose my mind.
Yeah. Apparently, people were like, "Oh, she's growing her hair out again."
Do we think it's happening?
It's possible.
I will lose my mind if they bring back the wacky waving fellas. Hell yeah.
I also saw another thing where, like, when they debuted, Bailey was dressed in white, Dakota was dressed in gray, and Io was dressed in black.
Okay.
So it's like, maybe there's a little foreshadowing there. Maybe it's Dakota
Oh.
and Io that split off into their own little hero thing, and maybe it's Bailey going babyface. I don't know.
I like babyface Bailey. So the Lumberjills have been pretty uninvolved to this point.
Aside from getting smacked.
Aside from Rosa Mendes getting absolutely demolished, like Will Smith, or well, Chris Rock.
Chris Rock.
Natty has distracted the ref while Melina rolls up McCool, so that's a mistake. When the ref turns, Michelle kicks out. Michelle gets sent to the outside and is just jumped.
Yeah. This is a gang style beat. This is a fight back. Fight back. As you're getting mauled by 10 people.
Rosa, at one point, did you notice this? During the brawl, Rosa turns to swing at Jillian.
And then she catches it, and then they're like, all right, that's it.
Well, Jillian has this look of like, what the fuck are you doing? We're not supposed to fight right now. We're doing that. It's like Rosa saw another blonde and was like, that's it.
She thought it was...
She got slapped earlier. A blonde drive-by her and just was like, ah.
Yeah, that shit was weird as fuck. At one point, Melina does the Matrix, the old little
bend backwards dodge, yeah.
And Michelle does not fall for it at all. Knocks her on her ass.
Just boots her. They're both in the corner. They both tumble to the outside. The Lumberjills again jump McCool, start fighting each other, and that's when Layla slips in the ring.
And she starts fighting Melina.
Yeah, she fights her a bit. Doesn't really get a lot of offense in on Melina, but distracts her enough before also getting tossed to the outside. McCool comes back in the ring, high kick, and she wins. She unifies title. Yeah. Her and Layla celebrate. This was all part of their plan. The whole time they had us all fooled.
LayCool forever.
LayCool forever. I want to complain about something.
Go ahead.
We found this match on the WWE YouTube page. It's there in full.
It's not available in my country.
I'm so sad. I'm so sorry for you. 10-minute clip. How many ad breaks do you think?
5.
6.
Oh.
Brutal.
It's not as bad as Instagram, where if you want to watch anything like on their like little side things, like some stuff's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But and so it's like, like a little mini documentary on it on like a seal or something that's like 5 minutes. You'll get for 5 minutes you'll get 15 ads.
It's a lot. It's a lot. Same with like when I would look at Snapchats, like when I had Snapchat and I'd look at the the different stories you could subscribe to or whatever. Every third panel was an ad, and I was like, "Oh my god! Like this is just so exhausting. It's so stupid. Like we're gonna buy your stuff anyway. Stop putting ads into everywhere." Which is funny because we're about to take a break. It's some of the greatest segueing of all time, but your boys need to get paid a little bit. So we're gonna take a break. When we get back, we're watching Snooki wrestle. Back from the break, March 14th. Snooki showed up. If you're watching on YouTube, Javier has been fist pumping this whole time. She was a guest star, and she insulted Vicky Guerrero backstage, as one does. Later that night, Vicky defeated Trish Stratus in the match with the help of LayCool. After the match, Snooki, who was watching at ringside, took down LayCool after being provoked by Michelle. A brawl ensued between Snooki and Stratus and LayCool until LayCool retreated from the ring. Vicky then proposed a 6-person mixed tag match, and it is where we go next. WrestleMania 27, LayCool and Dolph Ziggler versus John Morrison, Trish Stratus, and Snooki.
You know the story of this match, right?
Tell me the story.
So if you notice, John Morrison wants nothing to do with Trish. And that's because originally the Trish spot was supposed to be Melina, who was real life in a relationship with John Morrison at the time. So Morrison, in solidarity with his girlfriend, just completely ignores Trish.
I did not notice that. That'll be fun to do on a rewatch.
Yeah. Well, don't rewatch this match.
Is it because it's not very good?
Of course, the clip starts with Vicky just going, "Excuse me!"
I have a question for you, and we
Go
never
ahead.
covered him before, and I'm sure we will because he's had a hell of a career. Did Dolph Ziggler meet his potential?
I think that if you look at the absolute peak of peaks of his career, which I think were two moments. I think he has two peaks.
It's the
It's
cash in and Survivor Series, isn't it?
I
Like
guess he has three peaks. I forgot
so.
about the cash in.
So the cash in, and then the
Yeah.
Survivor Series against John Cena, and the third one is it the Miz feud?
Yes, the Miz
Yeah,
feud when he finally wins.
yeah. No
And
Mercy, a tremendous show.
yes, and I will say, like, I think that if you look at just the peaks, yeah. I mean, he's a multiple time world champion. He's a multiple
Yep.
time intercontinental champion. If you just look at his numbers, it's like how we're gonna look at like how we probably look at like players from like the freaking 80s and stuff like that. Like we have to look at their numbers because like we weren't alive.
Yeah.
If you look at Dolph Ziggler by just what he's won and his like how he wrestles in like
Longevity, the impact. You
if
can
you
see
look
his
at
in
it in
ring.
like 15 years from now, you'll be like, oh, this guy was good. This is a
Yeah.
great wrestler. But if you look at it from like our eyes, you're like, yeah, he could have been so much more.
I think what it is the peaks were so good, they just should have been longer. Like
Yeah.
after the cash in, obviously the concussion kind of derails that. That's fine. After Survivor Series, just nothing capitalized on. He
Nothing.
was like the at
He was the biggest baby face in the company at that
at
point.
the lowest. He was number 2. Like he
No,
was
at that
red
point,
hot.
he's number one because Bryan Danielson's not back yet.
Right. That's what I was thinking. Bryan Danielson's not back. Like he's red hot. During the Miz feud, he could have been the leader of SmackDown. Like
Yeah.
obviously SmackDown had some other good stars there, and that's great. It's just we saw the highs and they were fleeting. Like they were
Yeah.
so close.
They just never wanted to give him the ball. And honestly, look, I will say, I really, really like Dolph Ziggler. I think people overreact to Dolph Ziggler. Like, I don't think Dolph Ziggler is like face of the company, like world champion for a year type guy. Like, I think at best, what Dolph Ziggler could have gotten was like that first AJ title run where he loses to Cena at the Royal Rumble.
And
like,
that's
a
fine.
good run. And that's a
good run.
But I don't think he gets that like AJ Styles year-long title reign. You know what I mean?
I just think every single time we found his peak, I just wanted it to be longer each time because the peaks were so good.
It was a little amuse bouche. That's like the greatest thing you ever had. It's like a bacon with like some sort of something, and it's great.
Speaking of great, this match is not.
Well, why do you think we're talking about Dolph Ziggler? She presents them, the team of Dolph and LayCool, as the greatest combination of beauty, talent, and intelligence ever assembled at WrestleMania. Her best friends, LayCool, and her business associate, Dolph Ziggler.
Her man candy.
Oh, she says business associate.
We know it means man candy. LayCool with the matching gear, the duo entrance, the most iconic vibe that you'll find this
It's
whole
so
thing.
Good. I love LayCool. I'm sorry. I'm never gonna be able to say bad. I know they, it's not their fault that they had to do the whole like fat shaming thing. It's Vince McMahon's fault.
Yeah.
But like,
I assume it's Kevin Dunn's fault somehow.
They did it well.
They're very funny. We don't see Snooki's entrance during this, but she does come out to the Jersey Shore theme song.
If you want to have fun and do something, if you want to have fun and do something crazy.
I feel like you were too young to be watching Jersey Shore.
No, I was in like middle school.
Did you watch it?
Yeah, my brother watched it, so I would watch it with him.
Ironically, like we didn't really hear about it, but
I didn't watch the first season live, but every season after that, up until it like kind of jumped the ship, I would watch live.
Season 1, my friend and I were like, let's watch the Jersey Shore. Like we saw it, we're like, whatever, sure, let's see what it's like. And then it became a ritual in my friend group. Like we all knew that we were all going to meet up and watch the Jersey Shore every week.
Every Tuesday, baby.
To the point where when they had a special on, we taped it and then we played ready for this, a Jersey Shore themed drinking game on New Year's, and like people almost died So it's like every time you see an Italian flag, every time they say GTL, every time Paulie starts to fist bump, every time that Ronnie and Sammy have a fight, like one episode, we're all like, "Oh no!"
See, the thing was, I think the thing that really got me and my brother into it was the relationship between Paulie and Vinny, because we were like,
That's fair.
my brother and I were very similar with each other. It's like we were just like always like hyping each other up and saying stupid shit. So we were just like, is it time? Is it t-shirt time? And like it's stuff like that. So that's why I enjoyed Jersey Shore.
I want to tell you the greatest birthday gift I've ever received.
Oh no.
My other co-host, my other podcast, Mallory, sent me a mug that contains the note to Sammy from when Ron was at the bar. It's just a plain white mug, and it has the contents of the note. And if you watch Jersey Shore, you know exactly what the note is. It's my favorite mug. Whenever I have hot drinks, I use it all the time. It's really good.
Tell the people what the note says.
Sam, the first night at bed when you left, Ron made out with 2 girls and put his head in between a cocktail waitress's breasts. Also was grinding with multiple fat women. When you left crying at Clutch, Ron was holding hands and dancing with a female and took down her number. Multiple people in the house know, therefore you should know the truth. Use this information wisely. What a fucking tremendous note. No notes.
And for those who don't know, the note was written by Snooki and Jenny.
And so let's talk about Snooki in this match. Early on, we've got McCool and Trish, which actually is a really cool matchup.
Yeah, I would have loved to see more of it.
Yeah. Trish backs her in the rope, hits a chop, does the Matrix dodge, and McCool just stomps her in the stomach.
Which is so good.
What a great counter.
She goes for the Styles Clash. Trish gets out of it. They fall out of the ring from the top rope, which was the safest way I've ever seen 2 people fall out of the ring from the top rope.
It's true, because Stratus went for the head scissors handstand that she does. McCool counters and pulls her up, and then they both went tumbling to the outside. Layla attacks Trish, but Trish does a double clothesline to both women at ringside off the apron, which is very cool.
Yeah. Back in the ring.
Yeah.
Trish hits a chick kick. Dolph breaks it up. Morrison then jumps him and hits Starship Pain to the outside.
This match has no reason to have a spot that fucking cool.
It has a few cool spots. I really like that Matrix thing.
It's maybe like one of the cleanest Starship Pain hits that I've ever seen.
The issue with Starship Pain is that he doesn't have enough space from when he does the rotation to when he hits the person. So
but by doing it from the top rope to the outside, you have more room to do the full rotation.
Yes, because he is John Morrison and he is a freak.
Then we get the Snooki Mania running wild.
Snooki tags in and gets booed out of the building.
Booed. So many boos.
It's so bad. It's like, I fucking love Snooki. Nicole is a sweetheart.
Well, that's Sammy's sweetheart. But yeah, Nicole's cool too. Handspring, I'm going to call it a back attack because she doesn't actually throw an elbow up at all in the corner. She does a handstand splash thing to Michelle McCool and gets the pin. Michelle eats the pin.
It should have been Layla.
Give me a tier for this celebrity match.
I don't know. She came in. She did some handsprings. It looked cool. And then she got a pin. She did 2 moves and got a pin. Like, it's fine.
I said D tier, and it's all because Starship Pain saves it from F tier.
Nah. All right. Are we taking overall match?
Overall match.
I'm going to bump it up to a C just because we were in and out so quick.
That's also true.
I feel like
this is the longest thing we've talked about, but part of it was about Jersey Shore. So
if you want to have fun, do something crazy.
So that was on April 3rd. On April 8th, so the next week on SmackDown, dissension began to show amongst LayCool because they were defeated by Beth Phoenix and Kelly Kelly because McCool avoided being tagged in by Layla, citing a back injury. They argued. They did couples therapy sessions in the following weeks, but then officially they disbanded. On the April 29th episode, McCool faced Layla in a singles match, ended in a double countout. After the match, Layla challenged McCool to a no DQ, no countout match at Extreme Rules, and Michelle accepted under one condition, which said it was loser leaves WWE. And that's where our last match is. Extreme Rules 2011, loser leaves WWE. You know what the saddest part about this is? They still have the same theme music. So when Layla comes out, they don't even restart it. They just let it play through because they're meant to be together. They're meant to be
It's
friends.
not fair. Well, Michelle McCool hasn't gone into the Hall of Fame, has she?
I think she no, she hasn't.
Yeah, when she goes into the Hall of Fame, if it's not fucking Layla that inducts her, I don't want it. I don't want it.
I would put the odds on Layla being the inductee at 3-1.
Also, what are the odds that we go to the Hall of Fame?
Oh, when we go to WrestleMania? I really want to go, actually. I think it'd be really fun.
I'll do it.
Depending on who the class is. I think that actually matters. Like, it all depends on who gets inducted.
I want to know who the headliner is.
So I'd say Layla being the inductor is 3-1. I'd say Undertaker's 4-1.
Oh, fuck that. Fuck that.
I think Taker would do it. I think Taker would do it, though.
Yeah, but no, I don't want her husband. I want her real life partner.
Layla.
Yes.
This is the match recommendation of the week.
Yeah, it's just my heartstrings were being tugged at.
It's also the most vicious heel shit that Michelle McCool does of any match.
It's also probably the longest of any of the matches.
Yes. Either this or the Natty match.
One.
Yeah. Oh, the Melina one. The Melina one, yeah.
Layla goes to pose on the ropes. Michelle rocks her.
Boots her.
Yeah. Then she does what is essentially a chick kick for a near fall. And then Layla, who, look, it needs to be said, Layla is not as good at wrestling as Michelle is.
No.
She tries, but she's not as good at it.
No. That's okay.
So the quality of this match is not. This isn't like a 5 stars in the Tokyo Dome, but it's good. It's a decent match. It's a blow off of a feud, and a breakup of a duo that, honestly, this is historic right here.
Yeah.
And so she does a double leg. She goes for the punches. The crowd goes crazy.
Crowd is super into this match.
And I'm like, that alone should be enough of a sign that LayCool was it.
Layla's sent to the outside. She pulls McCool out, sends her to the announce table. And that's when I see it. The coal miner box is alive and well. Michael Cole's in his big protective box, and I am immediately triggered. I've never been more immediately revolted. I was like, oh, the fucking box.
For not to think about it.
Oh.
Michelle hits a belly-to-belly out of nowhere for a near fall after begging off of Layla. Like you mentioned, they fight to the outside. Then they fight onto the barricade.
Yeah, because Layla's on the outside, and then Michelle goes for a big boot and gets hung up on the barricade. Layla takes advantage. She gets on the barricade with McCool, but McCool tosses her just right off of it.
Yeah, it's like by the hair. She's like,
yeah,
pulls down on her hair. At one point, they get back into the ring. They're in the corner, and Layla hits like a... I don't even know what to call it. She like does a front flip off the rope, off from like the middle rope while Michelle's standing, and she ends up hitting a stunner.
That's exactly what I wrote. I said a front flip stunner out of the corner. So
yeah, she does that for a near fall. Layla fights out of the Styles Clash attempt by Michelle. She hits a neck breaker,
nasty looking neck breaker thing. Yeah,
it's essentially what Rick Rude would hit.
Yeah,
like Rick Rude's. What the fuck did he used to call his?
I don't remember.
Rude Awakening. The Rude Awakening. Is essentially
good.
That.
You saved us from being yelled at by an oldies fan in the comments. So thank
you. Yeah, you're welcome. Michelle gets her foot on the rope though, which is hard. It's just heartbreaking because I feel like that would have been it if not. Michelle does a counter. She does an incredible counter and then hits a Styles Clash. I forget what the counter was now. I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember either. Layla then, so McCool goes for the pin after the Faith Breaker. Layla turns the pin into a crucifix pin quickly and manages to pin Michelle McCool. 1, 2, 3. Michelle McCool is gone from the WWE.
It's honestly the perfect way for that match to end.
It's exactly the way it should go. Layla is crying, watching as her friend has to leave. Layla walks all the way up to the ramp. The crowd is doing the na 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 to see McCool off, and then something happens. Did you stick around?
Yes, I did stick around for this.
What comes? What happens?
We hear that the Titantron turns a different color. We hear music. We're like, what the fuck? We hear some laughing, some maniacal. It's Karma.
Awesome Kong is here.
Awesome Kong debuts. Lays out Michelle McCool with
Yep.
the implant buster, and just laughs maniacally.
There's a whole shot of all the women backstage watching as Karma debuts, and they're terrified.
The thing with Karma is, I feel like, the whole thing with her is like she got injured, her back was already messed up by the time she got to WWE. Then she got pregnant,
Yeah.
and she just wasn't able to really perform. But I think that if she had had a run there, man, she probably would have been the champion for like 4 years.
Yeah,
Like, I'm not even kidding.
She would have it would have been Gunter in the women's division.
There's nobody that, no, she would have been fucking Roman. Like, nobody would have been able to beat her. Like,
yeah. In this actually was Michelle McCool's last full-time match as a member of the roster.
yeah,
And she
talked
talked
to it for the most part.
She talked a little later on about kind of the decision why. She was dealing with numerous injuries, specifically a torn MCL. And she gave birth to a child the following year, so she wanted to do that and wanted to take time off to do that as well. And then has just decided to kind of live the life away from the ring. She has returned a couple times, including famously, she was in the first Women's Royal Rumble and was a dominant performer. She had the record for most eliminations after the first one.
Yeah, she was really good.
Yeah, she dominated. She had 5 eliminations that match and was eliminated by Natty. She took place in the Evolution Battle Royal, was eliminated by Ember Moon. She was in the 2022 and 2023 Royal Rumbles. So
yes, sir.
She's a common person to bring back for the Rumble. Everyone's like, hey, Michelle McCool's here. She has a couple cool spots.
She's still good.
She's still good. She's still good. I mean, she's also only 40. Like, she's 43. She's in great shape. She can still do all the things.
She only had the one kid, so
she's got a lot of accolades.
One taker, baby.
2-time WWE Women's Champion, 2-time Divas Champion. She won 2 Slammy Awards and was the PWI Woman of the Year in 2010, the 3rd year that they ever did Woman of the Year.
Did you see the list for the men that came out today as of recording?
You mean the one dominated by the Shield? I loved it.
Yes. I thought that it was an interesting placement. But I also agreed very much. It's the first time I've ever mostly agreed with the list. Yeah. I thought that Vikingo was a little too high. I was very upset that Will Ospreay wasn't in the top 10.
I agree that Vikingo is too high. I think the top 4 track for me.
Yes, Gunther's 4, right?
Rollins, Roman, Moxley, Gunther.
Yeah, and then I thought Okada was too high. I thought Orange Cassidy should have been ahead of Okada.
So for those who haven't seen it yet, we'll go through. Rollins is 1. Honestly, I'd say very well earned. Yeah, how many times has Rollins been number 1? This is a little quiz for you.
Is this his first?
This is his 3rd.
Oh, 2019.
2019 and 2015.
Yeah, deserved, honestly.
Deserved. So it goes Rollins, Reigns, Moxley, Gunther, Vikingo, MJF, Okada, Orange Cassidy, Josh Alexander, also well-deserved, and Cody Rhodes.
I thought that MJF should have been a little higher. I thought Orange Cassidy should have definitely been higher.
I think it would have been fine if it went Rollins, Reigns, Moxley, Gunther, MJF, Cassidy.
Yeah. Even? Listen, I love Okada. There's not many people in this world who are a bigger fan than Kazuchika Okada than I am. But, what did he do? That he hasn't already done? It's not like he tore... he had some good matches because he's Okada. But it's not like he, had this, legacy-defining year or anything that merited him being so... if Cody's going to be 10... Okada should have been 9. I thought he had a similar year to Cody for the most part.
Also, for the 3 first years that PWI did the women's, at first it was the female 50 and now it's the women's 150. The first 3 years they did it were 2008, 2009, and 2010. If you're wondering, Michelle McCool those years, 9 and then 8 and then 1. So, top of her game the whole time.
Was she there in 2011 or was it?
Well, this match is 2011, so Extreme Rules. So she was out of the company by
halfway through the year.
By May of that year.
But no, it's great. She's number 1. I love that. I hope Layla was number 2.
Impromptu quiz for you.
Go ahead.
How many of the 2010s PWI women's number ones. They're all different every year. Just name a couple names. I'll tell you if they're in the number one spot in the 2010s, or even 2022 to 2008. I'll give you the whole range. Who has been number one before?
Charlotte.
Charlotte was in 2016.
Becky.
Was in 2019.
Sasha.
Was never.
Wow. Bailey?
Bailey was 2020.
Only 2020. Wow.
Yeah.
2015. Asuka.
Asuka was 2017.
Bianca Belair.
Was 2021.
Yeah. It hasn't been Rhea Ripley, has it?
No.
Julia.
No.
Mayu Iwatani.
No.
Io.
No.
Kyrie.
No. Wow. If you're wondering, 2022 was Syuri.
Okay, come on.
Other people who've been in the number one spot: Rousey, Nikki Bella.
Are we fucking for real right now?
2018. Top 5 that year were Rousey, Bliss, Charlotte, Io, and Asuka. All right, enough about the women's wrestling in general.
Okay, whatever.
Let's talk Michelle McCool. What did you think going back and diving into her career?
I love Michelle McCool, honestly.
She was really good.
I loved it in the moment. Like, I was watching wrestling actively at this time, so like I was a fan of LayCool. Like, I really was. And so like I was excited to do this episode. And to me, it lived up to the billing. Like, it's a good time. The improvement she made throughout her career is crazy. I thought it was so cool in the moment that she was in the Styles Clash, because I was like, oh, it's AJ Styles' move. Like, I thought that was awesome. And also, she's like the perfect person to do it because she is so tall. And I felt like the one thing that hindered the Styles Clash was the fact that AJ is like 5'10".
Yeah.
But no,
it's funny because Michelle is also 5'10", but obviously the people she's going against are shorter than her. Yeah.
And she's a good promo. Like I said, she's one of the best mean girls in the history of wrestling. I think it's like Alexa Bliss number one, and then it's like, you throw your Charlottes, your Michelle McCools out there. Like, no one's I will say, Alexa Bliss, for being 5 feet tall, is absolutely incredible at just being a mean girl. And a mean girl is different from a B word. I'm not going to say it. We respect women nowadays.
Yeah, we're not a podcast from the 1940s.
We're not JBL.
We're not Mad Men.
Yeah, we're not John Hamm. I knew that would pop you. That's why I said it.
Jesus Christ.
And like, we respect women. And like a mean girl is different. And like I said, it's like a Regina George type, like Gossip Girl. It's like Leighton Meester, or I'm more so. Why am I blanking?
Blake Lively's
character. And like someone who is like the popular person who is just mean.
Yeah.
Like, not even just rude, just straight up mean. And she's really good at playing that character, and you saw it here. Her interactions with Layla were just absolutely perfect. They played off each other so well, and it made it. What made it even funnier is the fact that Michelle has a Texas accent. She's Southern.
Yeah.
And Layla's British.
Yeah, it's quite the combo. They do a really good job.
I love it.
Again, the recommendation this week is the Extreme Rules 2011 Loser Leaves WWE match. But if you want some really good in-ring work, either the Melina or the Natty match would be great. But go and watch LayCool promos because, God, they're a fun time.
They're so fun. Just anything LayCool is great.
It's true. It's very true. You should follow us on social media. You should hit us up on Instagram and Twitter at Crossbody of Work. You should follow Javier wherever he tells you right now.
On the Twitter machine, I am JMello Sports. Lob the boy a follow.
Follow me there too, at @7gomes, ITSEVANGOMES, wherever you're listening. If you're listening to the podcast on a podcast platform, rate us 5 stars. It helps out tremendously. Right now, we're sitting, I think, like 6 Spotify reviews. I'd love to get it to 10. So if you could be one of those people to get us to 10, I'd love you forever. That'd be really nice, really swell.
Especially if you like it. If you like it, just review it.
Yeah, share it with a friend. Talk about it with talk about it around the water cooler. Go to YouTube. at Crossbody of Work. You can watch all the podcasts there, plus all of our extra stuff. We talked about that interview with Nick Sullivan earlier. We've got other random wrestling content. We got lots of grid games and reels. It's a really great time. You should go and follow us there at Crossbody of Work. And if you are watching on YouTube, then hello. Like
Also,
the
thank you to
video.
all the people that watch those grids and stuff like that.
Yeah, they're doing really well. And
They're
so
doing really well. I'm happy that that's the case because
it's we have a lot of fun doing them. I have a lot of fun making them. Javier has a lot of fun playing them. So
yeah, because they're not the guest the wrestler. I fucking hate that thing. I'm so
yeah, you're bad at you're worse at that. Those little behind the scenes peek, those take like 4 minutes of air and get edited down to a minute. The grid game takes like 90 seconds and is edited down to a minute. So
like barely 90 seconds. It's like it's like barely over a minute. I'm very quick with them.
Yeah, you cook with those. You absolutely cook. You should also go to fullpresswrestling.com in order to see all the links for this week and all of our matches that we cover every week, and fullpressshop.com to cop the merch and support the boys. Next week, I picked the matches because I know this guy a lot better than Javier does. The quality's going to be weird, but honestly, the vibes are going to be immaculate. Next week, we look at the career of the Sandman. Smash your beer cans on your head. For $5, Javier, can you name me the Sandman's real name?
Fuck no. What? Why would anyone know that?
We're going to look at the career of James Fullington, a.k.a. the Sandman.
I got that right. I deserve $5,000.
I don't have that kind of money to throw around on random bets. All right. That wraps up this week's episode, except for everyone's most favorite part. It's time. Javier, any final words for the people?
This week on Life Advice with Javier, we are going to talk about mental health. It's been a rough weekend for the boy, I'm not going to lie. And, I'm doing a little better now. Not great, but doing a little better. I talked to my therapist yesterday.
Great.
Which is a great thing to do. I recommend highly everyone get a therapist. There are tons of online services out there. Also, if you have health insurance, just look at the back of your health card. They have mental and behavioral health services thing there. They cost money, obviously, but it's worth it, I think, in the long run, especially if you have the income to add that on to your expenditures. It's worth it. I do think that if we take care of our minds, we take care of our bodies.
There is no better investment than your own brain. You spend the most time with your own brain than anything else.
And that fucker will fuck you up. Let me tell you something.
That guy can suck.
You will not win that fight. And
these thoughts got hands.
Oh yeah, Mike Tyson hands. And it's just one of those things. I know we don't have BetterHelp as a sponsor, but BetterHelp is a really good service. It's the one that started it all off for me. And then I got a job at a hospital, and it was just easier for me to use that. So, and it's one of those things. I really do recommend therapy to everyone, but therapy obviously is not it for everyone. So if you have your own means, maybe it's you go out for a walk for a long distance, you listen to some podcasts or some mellow music or whatever whatever it may be. Maybe you go out into nature and you just literally be amongst trees and hear birds and stuff like that. Maybe that'll do it. Or maybe, and honestly, this is probably the most rational of them all, maybe you just go out for a drive. You just go nowhere. 30 minutes, listen to an hour, whatever it may be, listen to some music, sit in your driveway. If you have a driveway, just sit in your car, listen to something, and just, enjoy that time with yourself. Just clear it out, clear everything. If you're going through some down times, hey man, I may be cheery and all this stuff. I'm that, like I always tell Evan, I'm the talent. Come here, little light turns on, camera starts rolling, red light's there, and I go. But now I'm about to go eat some chicken tenders and French fries, and I don't know, figure it out for the night. But just know that I will inevitably figure it out. Listen, again, this isn't about where there are solutions, answers. This isn't a problem that's going to get solved, but it's something that you can treat. Whatever that may be, surrounding yourself with the people you love, all this other stuff. I know that it's difficult to get out of bed, and it's different for everyone. But honestly, something that has helped me the last few years is just getting out of bed.
It is important just to move yourself sometimes.
Literally get out of bed. Something I actually have done lately that has helped me with that process. At night, I've started leaving my phone on my desk.
Oh,
start
that's
on my
big.
desk and then
That's big.
go to bed. It forces me to read at night if I'm not super tired and now instead of going to sleep, which is good. Stimulates the brain, all this other stuff. And then when I wake up in the morning, I gotta get up. Fuck else am I gonna do? Twiddle my fingers? But yeah, just everyone out there, take care of yourselves. It's a double. It's something that I've said before in these segments, but it's something that's prevalent in my life right now. So I figured I'd reiterate it. We have tons of new listeners, pretty much every damn episode at this point. So if you stick around this long and this message even gets through to one of you guys, that's good enough for me.
Then it's beneficial to the rest of the world. I started getting up and doing activity in the morning. I went on a walk around my neighborhood at 6:45 this morning.
Also, if you're feeling down and you're watching on the YouTube, here's my cat.
That's right, a special appearance by the
Nuba.
cat,
She's
an absolute star, the real talent on this podcast. All right, thank you very much for listening this week as we talked about the career of Michelle McCool. We're back next week to crush beer cans and talk about the Sandman. We'll talk to you then.
You're not enough for me.